shall not tolerate another word.
But Elamir!
Enough, I said.
We heard.
That cockatrice. Do it. Throw him out.
Lord, you whisper.
Louder than I shout, so I've been told. Well, good, it's for the better. Let's hope we're overheard down here to the ladder.
You carry on as if we had a choice.
Bejart, listen to my voice. Our patronage, you say, requires that we add one more player to our company. The rationale for this escapes me quite, but knowing that the court is always right, I'm willing to oblige without dispute. However, on one point I'm resolute. A rash selection simply isn't wise. And that bombastic ninny I despise. Naught can induce me save a holy writ to share the stage with that dull hypocrite. What's that?
A writ.
You mock me.
Au contraire. The princess seems to love Monsieur Valère. And though you say he cannot be abided, apparently the matter's been decided.
Oh God, I'm going to die!
Well, even so.
But I detest Valère!
We know! Repeatedly, you've made that understood. With all, the fact remains, our livelihood depends upon a royal whim. And since the princess is amused by him, we're bound to not only cast him worse.
The troupe might even stage his comic verse? I'm breaking out in hives, this is obscene. What verse? That doggerel that in between great gulps of my Bordeaux he dared recite? In love with his own voice, the parasite, self-cherishing is too mild a phrase to describe the coquettish ways. He forms a sentence, flirting like a girl, the tiny cough that says, I've dropped a pearl, the eyelids all a-flutter and the sniff, while striking poses with his handkerchief. And for all that he never speaks, he spits. I almost drowned in that man's affricates. And he compares himself to Scaramouche. Oh really, he's just so grotesquely louche, on all accounts I'd say. Don't you agree?
Well, what about his generosity in showing admiration for your play?
I'd much prefer his censure to his praise. Beware of men who lodge through the skies. It is themselves they seek to lionize. Valère finds something he thinks I'd like to hear and then spouts some panegyric that will steer the conversation back to his renown. But have you seen my own, The Dying Clown? The Dying Clown?
I've seen it.
Really, where?
A year ago, in Brussels, at a fair.
Well, was it good?
I don't remember now. It was a pantomime. He had a cow dressed as Anne of Austria.
Oh, please. Look here, Bejart, I'm getting on my knees to beg the Lord that we be spared this hell. Dear God, we pray. Get on your knees as well. Dear God, we pray. I mean it, man, get down. Dear God, we pray you look upon this town where 7 humble actors make their home, thanks to the princess by whose grace we roam, the countryside itinerant no more.
Amen.
Amen? What did you say that for?
I thought you'd finished.
No.
May we get up?
Dear God,
I'm standing.
from thy brimming cup of mercy let us drink.
Let's go.
Stay there.
Stop it, Elamir. Since when has prayer ever been a genuine expression of your creed?
When all else fails, God damn it.
Damn indeed.
All right, then what do you propose aside from pity? That's the way it goes. How very helpful. What a good solution. I do applaud your stunning contribution.
We simply have no choice.
Pressing beast.
At least I'm honest.
At the very least, such honesty makes liars of us all. Just kneeling next to you makes me feel small. Forgive my lack of rectitude, but I must falsely hope or die, because the thought that this Valère should be forever tangled in my hair is so repellent, so abjectly grim, that forced to choose between an hour with him and dangling by my thumbs in Zanzibar,
Now, don't you think you're taking this too far?
or writhing in a scalding tub of lies,
What would it hurt to give the man a try?
or rotting in a ditch consumed by lice,
I'm sure in time we'll find he's very
or
nice.
racked with plague, bubonic glands protruding.
Gentlemen, I hope I'm not intruding.
Voice.
Good Lord, you're deep in prayer.
No, come in, Monsieur Valère.
Come in.
Well, heaven bless us now. I see it was a sudden burst of piety that took us from the table, am I right? I'm so relieved. I thought perhaps your flight was caused by something I had said or done. No, don't explain. God bless us, everyone. I, too, am very pious, most about. I'd cross myself 12 times, or thereabout, before I take my morning tea each day. By lunch, it's up to 40, and I'd say by nighttime, it's a staggering amount. What a foolish waste of time to count. Devotion comes to nothing. If we come to summarize devotion in a sum. A tiny play on words that please you not. I swear I made it up right on the spot. I don't know how I do it, I just do. These epigrams, they come to me like dew, collect upon a budding daffodil. A curse, a blessing, call it what you will. It's mine to bear this genius of the word. Did I say genius? I think it's absurd when people call you that. Don't you agree? To us it comes from breath. So naturally it seems like sorcery to those below. I cite that telling phrase from Cicero. De bonum est, dis bonum est. Oh, shit. Well, anyways, you get the gist of it. I do love Latin, does it show? It's true. I'm something of a scholar in it, too. I've read them all. Yes, even I'm impressed. From Cicero to, all the rest, whom I could quote in full without abatement, but I digress.
Oh, what an understatement.
That meal? You must have gone to great expense. How cruel of me to keep you in suspense. Did I enjoy it? Was the meal a hit? He turns them slowly on the spit. Be at your ease, my friends. I thought the meal was excellent, if not, ideal. The vinaigrette, a touch acidic, no, and I prefer less runny haricot. More butter in the velouté next time, and who, for heaven's sake, told you that lime could substitute for lemon in souffle? These tiny points aside, please let me pay my compliments to all your company, so generous in breaking bread with me. Albeit bread that was a wee bit stale, but I don't mean to nitpick. But I failed to mention what a charming group they are. Key Therese. She's going to be a star. No, I'm sure of it. I know these things. So gifted. And I'm told she even sings. As for the others, they tend to be a little too theatrical for me. But darling, otherwise words can't describe my deep affection for your little tribe, who I do amuse myself to think I shall be allowed to eat and drink as we have done this evening every night. That is, of course, assuming it's all right. Am I mistaken? Stop me if I am. But it seemed obvious for this old hand that we had an immediate rapport. Well-educated people I adore. It's such a relief to know there's no confusion when I, whose speech is peppered with allusions, refer to facts that few but scholars know. Arcane, pedantic things like Cicero and other learned oddments of the kind, which, to the truly cultivated mind, are more common knowledge than erudition, but I digress. Oh, damn me to perdition! Shut up, give someone else a chance. I've had that said to me all over France, all over Europe, if the truth be told. To Babylon, completely uncontrolled, is such a dreadful vice. Me? I keep my sentences concise and to the point. 9 times out of 10. Yes, humanly I falter now and then, and when I do, naive enthusiasm incites a sort of thuggery spasm. Of blood, I don't come oft for air. And while such episodes are rare, I blabber on you almost can't imagine. My God, I'm almost doing it right now. No, only joking, not to fear. I'm far more guilty, or so I hear, of smugly showing that my lips are sealed when I'm the leading expert in the field, of haughtily refusing to debate when I could easily pontificate. Instead, I turn away with icy mien and look intimidatingly serene, as if the wisdom of the ages were silently inscribed upon the pages within some majestic tablet in my mind. But I lay claim to nothing of the kind. It's others who surround me with this lore. Myself, I'm just a lowly troubadour, with few accomplishments of which to boast. But then, I'm more self-critical than most. You think me too self-critical? Alack, 10,000 more have launched the same attack. Oh, it's very nice. Have launched the same attack. 10,000 more have launched the same attack. You think me too self-critical? Alack, 10,000 more have launched the same attack. That's very close to genius, don't you think? If only, yes, you have a quill in England. I would be very grateful if you please. There's no time to lose when lightning strikes the trees. What did I say again? How did it go? Keep talking, I'm still listening, This will only take a second. Ah, yes, that's right. 10,000 more. Pure delight. One must act quickly on one's inspirations that they're preserved for future generations. Acting otherwise, seems to me, ignores a grave responsibility imposed on us, for it's not ours to choose. By what? The lyric gift, the tragic muse. I translate crudely from the words in Greek, but any tongue sounds coarse when used to speak of something so ineffable and high. Believe me, greater scriveners than I. All right. not greater, different. Is that fair? Have racked their brains and torn out their hair in search of some linguistic sign by which the art of utterance divine. But what? Poeticizing? That's too crude, and I'm a stickler for exactitude who chase at clumsy earthbound turns of phrase. True eloquence rings out like godly praise. There's no mistaking it, it just takes wing. And frankly, my own phrase, creatoring, seems loftiest, more lofty than the Greek. Oh, how disgraceful! Slap me on the cheek. What hubris, what vulgarity, what nerve! Oh, slap me, it's what I deserve! What gall have I, the commonest of saws, to presume to speak more finely than the gods? Of course it might be true. That's not the point. What's rude is me choosing to annoy myself instead of giving you the chance. No doubt you both must look at me askance for such a gross, conceited discretion. I pray it won't affect your good impression. And now that we've got that nagging point off my chest, I return to my initial theme, which is, in fact, what in short I deem, by way of introduction, silence all. Haven't got a clue. Blank as a wall. I'm quite senile, it's no joke. My head is like an egg without a yolk. And don't think this is just a way of stalling. My mind has buckled. Isn't that appalling? Like there's an empty space between my ears. One time I had amnesia in Algiers, where everyone is black who isn't white. But that's some other tale for some other night. Suffice to say, I lost the whole December. Or was it August? I don't remember. See how absent-minded I can get? When did you have amnesia? I forget. Is that not comic genius? I must use it. I'd better write it down again before I use it. What did I say again? Forgetting? Christ! I've forgotten! How upsetting! Come back, you tantalizing gem! You tease! You bitch! You pickle epithet! I gave you life, and now you fly from me! This happens with annoying frequency and leads me to exclaim and catch a wall. My God, you've really seen me, warts and all. Algerian amnesia! No, that's wrong. Well, anyways, another gem will come along. They always do. Now, where was I? Yes, you've seen me in a state of stark undress. My warts exposed, my manners slightly odd. But what would you prefer? Some blemishless facade of cheap perfection? Not from me. Go elsewhere, ye who seek dishonesty. My life is truth, and truth my greatest passion. My God, you both are looking ashen. I've offended you somehow, but when? Why can't I learn restraint like other men instead of spilling everything at once? Of course, the vinaigrette! I'm such a dunce! Look, here's my apologies, my deep regret. Look, I enjoy acidic vinaigrette. It really makes me gag! There you see, I cannot lie. Damn my integrity! I want to spare your feelings, yes I do, but it simply means saying things that aren't true, and of my meager talents, that's not one. You see, I find that dwelling in the sun of honest criticism brings more joy than rotting in some coy and sycophantic coterie of slaves. My God, eloquence comes over me in waves. Did you hear that one? We all raised our bows. Permit me, just the tiniest of bows. I thank you, you're far too kind. As Cicero has famously opined, to hear one peers applaud. No, that's not it. You know the one? The famous one. Shit! The one about noblemen competing. Anyways, what's so famous, it's not worth repeating. The point is, when someone whom I revere, as famous as our darling Element, should greet my sad wit with such approval, I faint. Go fetch a cart for my removal. No, it's absolutely true. It's not acting. The lights grow dim. My pupils are contracting. My knees grow wobbly and my knuckles white. I'm fading out. Good night, sweet world. Good night. I'm totally unconscious now, I swear. Can anybody hear me? Are you there? Perhaps you think I'm being too dramatic. But really, I just droop when I'm ecstatic.
What causes that? Do either of you know?
A mystic in Gibraltar said I'm low in some peculiar energy, which lies for Leos, Capricorns, and Geminis astride the cusp of Saturn's largest moon. Well, fine, but does that tell me why I swoon? Of course not. What a load of bunk! Believe in that stuff and you're really sunk. I thank heavens that our age has banished such premonitions, except of stores for sprites and superstitions, which seem eminently true to me, and tarot cards and numerology and Kabbalistic rituals and such. But that astrology! Now there's a crutch with fools with half a brain or none. But soft, speak your visions. I'm having one. We're standing in a public square, Ghent. I think it's Ghent. It looks like Ghent. It's Ghent. A scarlet banner reads, Great Event. Auguste Valère and Elamir present the greatest spectacle held all through France. And then the title, Romance of something. Something? And then the town of Ghent. There, I told you it was Ghent. And then there's a tent, around which throngs the very cream of Flanders. A rousing vision, although it almost panders to my dream that like two cloths folded at the seam, our talents might someday this world unfold. A fancy merely or a truth foretold? Won't someone say one of the two of which he thinks it? No, don't answer. That would only jinx it. And fate's a cranky governess gone gray. I coined that phrase in Zurich, by the way, when I was only 8 years old. Yes, only 8. Precocious, try phenomenal, try great. The envy I provoked knew no ends. Imagine how despised I was by friends. My tutor fell in love with me, of course. He thought my every word a tour de force. I pitied him for doting on me so, but then I was a strapping lad, you know. Don't look at me as if I led him on. You blame a child before you blame a Don? I only did what I was told to do live, and if it jumped, that's not true! Good heavens. Suddenly it all came back. So sorry, seems I wandered off the track. Where was it? Yes, a governess gone gray. She guides our every movement, and I'd say her stewardship extends well beyond the grave. But if all things are fated, why be brave? Or noble, or industrious, or fair? Is that all you can do? Just blankly stare? Don't tell me such thoughts have never crossed your mind. If not, you walk through life completely blind. Such questions are essential, you see. A solid grounding in philosophy is vital for a proper education. It never crossed my imagination that you could be lacking in such a bare necessity. Things I assumed, wow, foolish me. At the risk of sounding pompous or uncouth, I'd like to list some volumes from my youth to help flesh out the bald spots in your learning. They've helped make my brain more subtle and discerning. Those Moroccan-bound and gold-tooled classics, which we, the prefects, in our flowing cassocks, tucked beneath our arms, I smell them still. Indulge me for a moment, if you will. I recommend you read, no, I insist, an author whom remarkably you've missed since he's the cornerstone of ancient thought, and if not already, should be taught to every child in the French lycée. His name, of course, is... Wait, it starts with A. A very famous name, don't help me out. It's A without a doubt. I'm sure it's, of course it's A. Or maybe D. No, it's A, I'm sure. Or maybe P. It could be P or M. It's M! It's M! Never mind. It could be all of them. This is embarrassing. I'm appalled. Come on, he wrote the famous what's it called? Don't leave me hanging on a limb. You're acting like you've never heard of him, and everybody has. He's world-renowned. His writings turn philosophy around by altering the then prevailing view from what is real is really falsely true to what is true is really falsely real. Well, either way, it's brilliant. Don't you feel? I'm not saying I don't see the whole. It's a stunning glimpse into our souls, no matter how you slice it. QED. I won a prize for it, deservedly, but who remembers prizes? It's the fame! Such brilliant men like... what's his name? Will never be forgotten. That's the prize. Such men live on when everybody dies. They laugh at famine, pestilence, and drought. And isn't that what life is all about? Good heavens, we've really talked a streak. Me, I'm exhausted. I'm feeling weak. We've hardly met, and yet you're like my brother. The way we've bantered and played off each other. We've chatted, chortled, changed our points of view. We've laughed a little, cried a little too. We've had some hills, some valleys and plateaus. We've traded secrets, quipped in cryptic prose. We've dropped our guards, we've learned to give a damn. We've proudly cried, yes, this is who I am. We've said it all and then found more to say. We've just, in short, to quote, talked the night away. And that's why it seems to me that this, our partnership, is meant to be. For though we're strangers in the narrow sense, in several ways more striking and intense, our gift for words, our love of the sublime, we've known each other since the dawn of time. Oh, very pretty. Since the dawn of time. We've known each other since the dawn of time. Well, that's all I really planned to say, except to thank you for a fine soiree, spoiled only by acidic vinaigrette. But I've said that more than once, I bet. My head is off in the clouds. Pay no attention. It's off in some ethereal dimension where worldly thoughts, not instantly deleted, are roundly and mechanically repeated as if to pacify the earth below. How galling it must be for you to know that even though we're here, in my mind, I might be off in some place more refined. That even though I'm present by convention, you might not really have my full attention. Oh, I don't mean you, dear friend. Good heavens, would I dare to condescend to someone as illustrious as you? The common people, of course, who would stoop to kiss my hem. They so love me. Forgive them, Lord. They know not how they bore me with idle chatter of their simple ways. I'm sorry, but my eyes begin to glaze, and it's a struggle to stay awake when someone's telling me about a rake or if his soil will yield a healthy grape. I nod and smile, but in my mind escape to knowledgeable regions in my dome, more crowded than a Roman hippodrome. I have, for instance, and it's not a fluke, verbatim recall of the Pentateuch. I memorized it all, you see. From Genesis to Deuteronomy, I now present the scriptures learned by heart. In the beginning! Yes, well, that's the start. It goes on like that till Moses dies. A superhuman task to memorize? Not really. It rather stuck. But I digress. Shut up, you stupid cluck, and let these gentle people talk on mine. Look, gag me with this handkerchief, all right? I know it sounds extreme and I'm a stranger, but trust me, you're in the gravest danger. For my digressions, left unchecked, can reach the vast proportions of a major speech, and you have no idea how close I am to just that sort of frantic dithy-rap. So why not spare yourselves a living hell and gag me? Gag me! Tie me up as well! Restrain me, hold me back, humiliate me, give the whip a crack! Disgrace me, make me bark and wear a dress and lick the filthy floor when I digress! But in the meantime, gagged I should remain. It's better that way, no? It's just sane and healthy way to curb my domination. I find it a complete abomination, no matter how distinguished one might be, when all one utters is me, 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 me. Me! I prefer the company of others. Frankly, friend, were I to have had my druthers, I'd utter not a peep for a week untold, preserving to absorb the manifold of human speech. The babble of the masses. Just stop and listen to the lower classes. For in their mindless grunts, the bourgeoisie I call wise stupidity. But no one listens anymore, and I fear when I die, so too will disappear that vague and subtle art who practice now grows faint. Now I'm not saying I'm some stained glass saint who always listens. Always? No, indeed. My God, I'm human, cut me and I bleed. It's simply that, as far as mortals go, I'm sensitive, and some say too much so, to any nuance in a conversation, which one might say would suggest my domination. And thus, in mid-sentence, I often cease. Despite the countless times I've held my peace when I might as well have chatted, since only I said anything that mattered. I know it's disgusting, but it's true. The point is that this is something that I do against all logic, so don't be distraught if in the middle of a brilliant thought I stop like this. And don't say more. Or, if commanding reverence from the floor for awesome debating skills, pro or con, I simply stop like this. And don't go on. A trifle strange, next huh? But if you please, ask any of my many devotees, and they'll tell you this trait at first appearing in time becomes incredibly endearing. It seems obnoxious to me, heaven knows, but they say it's a charming trait that grows more sweet with every encounter. Tell me why. I don't understand it, but then who am I? At any rate, the gag. Let me. Observe with what profound simplicity it does the job. Now isn't this more civilized? I'm silenced, and I think we're all relieved. We've nipped me in the bud and thus retrieved the limelight for our darling Eleanor. Speak on, dear friend. This player longs to hear if in posterity he'll deign to share your name with one a ghost will add. Please answer lest I talk you to death. I wait on your reply with bated breath.
Do you suppose he's ill?
Oh, yes.
Then we should...
No, Béjar, be still. Let us use this brief séjour while we can. Monsieur Valère, it seems to me that you're a man in love with words, a true aficionado.
I'm not transparent.
Yes.
But it's bravado. Don't let my gift, the silver tongue, deceive you. I'm really foolish.
Yes, we both believe you.
You're gentle.
Nonetheless, it's very clear that language is a thing that you hold dear.
Too mild, it's more than dear to me. I liken syntax to morality. Its laws inviolate in such a way that damned is he who dares to disobey. Diction, like aesthetics, is more free. It's where we express our creativity with metaphors and parts of speech. I'd say the shell-crushed strand. You'd say the beat. Semantics is like, hang on, let me see. I've used aesthetics and morality. Semantics is like swimming. No, that's bad. Damn. I thought I had a brilliant speech developing. Tomage. Well, back to our exciting persiflage. Where were we?
Language.
Gasp! My greatest passion.
But
No buts. It simply can't go out of fashion. Their bobos are as ancient as the birds.
they're bobos?
Yes.
What's that?
My word for words.
Your word for word.
Correct.
Why?
Word sounds dreary. They're bobos. Try it, it's more cheery. They're bobos. Say it. Come on, everyone.
They're bobos?
Shut up.
There, you see, it's fun.
You make up words.
Why, yes, is it a crime?
You can't just do that.
do it all the time. Like chair, for instance. Now there's a pallid noun. And I refuse to say it's sitting down. Francesca is the word I use instead. Or table. Now there's a word as good as dead. One might say escritar, but that's too frilly, and desk-like things sound just a little silly. So I say carabumba, which you see endows the table with nobility. Francesca Carabumba. How expressive. It really is amazingly impressive how the verbobos I invent surpass and do not simply supplement the phonemes of our mother tongue. But that's a flecking point which we must draw.
Monsieur Valère, I hate to interrupt.
I know the feeling.
But I'll be abrupt and speak to you directly if I can. You know as well as I do that you're a man whose talent and ability would be much better served in some fraternity.
A guild, perhaps.
Precisely, in some guild where you could feel more happy and fulfilled than you could ever feel by staying here.
Is that a humpback?
Yes?
Oh dear, dear, dear! How deeply nauseating, how unsightly! My friend, there's just no way of putting this politely. You disgust me! I'm sure you understand. Perhaps if I could touch it with my hand. Fine then, be that way. My God, we're all so sensitive today.
Did you just hear me?
How was I to know? At dinner, hunched above his escargot, he seemed ill-mannered merely, not contorted. But clearly my impression was distorted.
How dare you, sir?
No, I wear that hump with pride. It's just too bad there's not one on the other side. In fact, the thing's a veritable plus. If I were you, I'd name it Jacques or Gus. Or Beauregard. Hi, Beauregard. Hi, Beau. It's strange. I've seen you act, but didn't know until this moment, standing in this room, that you were ripped untimely from the womb. Now, why is that?
I don't know what to say.
You write a humpback into every
Monsieur
play.
Valère!
Of course, and it's true. The reason I never noticed that you were cruelly maimed is that you play the roles of humpback beggars, Philistines, and trolls, which Elamir specifically designed with your misshapen body in his mind.
You're mad!
I'm right.
I mean, you're mad!
I'm right.
You're mad!
Hi, Beauregard.
I've had enough! Enough of this!
Me too! Enough of what exactly?
Of you, and let there be no doubt.
I hear you, darling. You don't have to shout.
Oh, yes, I do, and let me tell you why. I've listened to you speak, no, speechify for what seems like a century in hell. Enough, I think, to know you all too well, or well enough to wish I didn't know you.
You lost me there.
Oh, yes? Well, then let me show you in basic language, if I may.
Don't be a fool.
I'm going to have my say.
The writ.
I know.
Well, if you know, desist.
Good heavens, is there something that I missed?
Hands are tied.
Not mine, not anymore.
Then pick him up and throw him out the door.
I plan to.
If that's the case, we're finished here. The royal writ is absolutely clear, and I, unlike you, am not prepared to risk what we've achieved.
Because you're scared.
Because I'm cautious.
God, that's even worse.
It's like a drama, only not in verse.
What shame is there in safety? What disgrace? In middle age, are you prepared to face what we, the decades past, have struggled through? And I'm not thinking just of me and you. Marquis Therese,
Now there's a gifted wench.
Debris and Catherine, who you were wrenched away from this home, to sleep again in Halos, into Rome, from burg to parish, living hand to mouth. Remember how they booed us in the South?
The South? Why in the South they cheer me?
Just don't think it's worth it, do you hear me?
And I don't mean applause, I mean ovation.
Why jeopardize this best of situations for lack of patience? Life is compromise. We learn to live with that which we despise in situations where the benefits outweigh what our penitents were forced to pay. Forbearance is a virtue.
In a saint, but men who endure without complaint some insult to preserve a meager gain deserve not only pity but disdain.
I side with him.
It's very well to say, but who on earth could ever live that way? We're hypocritical by definition.
I think he's swaying me to his position.
We're all more guilty than we dare admit of bending daily principles to fit ignoble appetites, which I contend is nobler than choosing not to bend one's principles, despite the likelihood that they may finally do more harm than good.
Well, that's what I would say.
I disagree. To suffer for one's principles to me seems nobler than to prosper from their lack.
That's true, good point.
Not so white and black. I'm arguing for something in between.
He's right, you know.
By which, of course, you advocate a plan that, when applied, ensures that everyone's dissatisfied.
That's so true, I'm on your side again.
Our lives are governed by such foolish men, and we're to blame because misguidedly we hold to the belief that it would be more difficult to keep a fool at bay than simply just to let him have his way. At first it seems a harmless compromise, but hot air has the tendency to rise until it finally overwhelms your life. And that's when the fool will really twist the knife, when he gets power. And he always does. Then grit your teeth and swallow hard, because he'll mock you every day with your mistake of underestimating what a snake a fool can be if given half a chance. He'll treat you like the footman at a dance and revel with Mephistophelian glee in how his presence shall eternally evoke, with sharp refrains of ridicule, the cutting truth that you've been made the fool.
Enough! It's meant in jest, my friend's reproof.
Calm down, this blabbermouth is bulletproof. Valere, I ask you, have you been offended by anything I've said?
Me? Heavens, no. I'm on your side in this. I told you so. You're such a better speaker than that chap. But then, of course, he's got a handicap. Now, why on earth should I have felt amused? I'm flattered by that M word you used. Maristarelian, was it?
There, you see.
I'm flattered you think it might apply to me. He's so Marista. What?
Mephistophelian.
Maristarelian. So Maristarelian. He's so Maristarelian.
There, you see, completely blinded by his vanity. I assure you it wouldn't matter if we just served it to him on a platter. The bluntest terms would float beyond understand. I'm telling you, I know these kinds of men. You still don't believe me? Watch, I'll demonstrate. Monsieur Valere, permit me to restate. Monsieur Valere! I need your full attention. I wonder if I might have the chance to mention in more specific terms, if that's all right, my own impressions of our little chat tonight.
Oh, please do. Be specific. I'm wrapped.
Well, good.
You know, you really should be slapped.
Let me sit in this, Francesca. Oh, wait. Good idea. Now I can concentrate.
I'm glad you're concentrating. Now listen closely. You've said a lot tonight and said it grossly. In fact, I've been appalled by every word. I find your views on life and art absurd, and yet what hardly notices above the mountain of your towering self-love. Your ignorance is even more colossal. Your brain is like some prehistoric fossil that must have died 10,000 years ago. Yet on and on and on you go as if you were the fountain of human learning, selfishly, contemptuously spurning the moves that others make to interject. You act as if you're one of the elect whom God appoints like Jesus Christ our Savior. It really is contemptible behavior, whose only saving grace, if one there be, is in the unintended comedy arising from your weightiest pronouncements. You seem to feel like you have to make announcements instead of speaking in a normal tone. Yet by a orotund and overblown and hectoringly pompous presentation, you simply magnify the desolation, the vast aridity within your soul. In short, I think you're just a gaping hole, a talentless, obnoxious pile of goo. I don't want anything to do with you. I can't imagine anyone who would. And if it makes me better understood to summarize in 30 words or less, I'd say you have the power to depress with every single syllable you speak, every monologue that takes a week, and every self-adoring witticism.
Well, you mean this as a criticism?
I rest my case.
And when you say depressed, do you mean good depress or bad depress? And overblown's defined exactly how?
There, Béjart, do you believe me now?
Would it be overreaching to request that you write down so that I may digest, at my own time and also at my leisure, these comments you have made, which I shall treasure?
I'm flabbergasted. I don't understand. I've never heard a more perverse demand. Why would you want it written down?
To read them.
Well, yes, of course, but why?
I'm going to need them.
But why?
Because I'm anxious to improve. Is that so strange, my wanting to remove every flaw from my persona? Surely not. I loathe a blemish. I despise a spot. Perfection is the goal towards which I strive. For me, it's what it means to be alive. And hence, I'm grateful for a shrewd critique. It keeps my talent honest, so to speak. We of the theater share a prevailing view that criticisms of the things we do inspire our interest, not our hurt or rage. It's simply a part of being on the stage, to have oneself assessed at every turn. And thus we show a willingness to learn from judgments which might wound another man. I much prefer to any drooling fan a critic who will slice me into parts. God love the critics. Bless their picky hearts. Precisely, and in no uncertain terms, they have the apple showing us our worm. My God, that was a brilliant illustration. Don't get me wrong. To hear some dissertations on all one's failing gives a twinge, of course. It hurts when someone knocks you off your horse. That's true for anybody, I should think. But getting on again in half a wink and knowing that we're better for the skill instructs us that it's love and not ill will which motivates the critical assault. You've honored me tonight by finding fault. My God, I thought, are they denouncing me, these men of such eloquence and renown? How thrilling that I'm the one they're tearing down. What joy that Elamir, whom people say is destined to become the next Cornet, should slander me in such a public forum. And by the way, it isn't just the corn which prompts you to express my awe. Your plays show promise, and a few, like Mandarin, I've seen 5 times or more. Now there's a play that really made me roar. I haven't laughed so hard in years and years.
It was a tragedy.
Yet through my tears, the laughter seemed more painful. God! Well, open thy mouth and say, what you want? Could that have been more awkward? Surely not. Whew. I'm embarrassed. I'm feeling hot. Forgive me, Elamir. What can I say? I'm sure it was a very solemn play, but why then did I find it such a hoot? That crippled peasant boy who played the flute. Hysterical. I mean delirious. Are you quite sure it was serious?
It's time to say goodnight, it seems to me.
No, Béjart, it's time to say goodbye.
It's not an option.
Why?
I've told you why.
Then,
Hello?
who's there?
Your maid.
Ah, yes. Come in, Doreen. Be careful with your dress.
Blue!
Good girl. Now, what's the matter, dear?
Blue!
Yes, Blue. Blue what?
Blue.
Blue is clear. Blue what, though?
Blue.
Blue what? Blue what? Blue skies, blue moon, blue cheese.
What's going on?
Blue eyes.
Some sort of guessing game she plays.
No, it's just an adolescent phase.
Blue what, Doreen? This drives me up the wall.
What sort of phase?
She never speaks at all, except in monosyllables like
Blue.
or words which rhyme to that effect like to or do or shoe. Don't ask me to explain. These adolescent phases are insane.
She only speaks in words which rhyme with do.
That's right.
What are our children coming to? How long has this been going on?
For weeks.
But can you understand her when she speaks?
Well, yes and no. It takes some time, you see.
Blue what? Blue what? Blue wrist?
Eventually, she gets her point across.
Blue wrist? Blue...
Blue!
Now what's she doing?
Giving us a clue.
You're slashing at your wrist. Blue slash? Blue cut? Oh, I don't know, Doreen. Blue what? Blue what?
Blue blood!
Blue blood? That's it? You mean he's right?
Well, this is turning out to be my night. I wasn't even trying, and I won, which makes the victory that much more fun.
But what does blue blood signify?
To me, it would imply the aristocracy.
Or royalty, perhaps?
Ah, yes, that's true.
That's it, Doreen. That's what you meant by
Blue.
blue.
I realize, of course, I should have warned you, though, that I'm an ace as far as word games go.
So royalty, Doreen, would be correct.
One Easter, while performing near Utrecht.
It's royalty. At least we've nailed that down.
But what's significant about the crown?
I fell into a local Flemish game.
Indeed, Doreen.
Bamboozle was its name.
Just why is royalty so apropos?
Whose rules, my God, I didn't even know.
Speak up, my girl.
Yet somehow I kept winning.
New what?
New what?
New!
New beginning.
Beginning? Ah, yes, I never played before.
New born.
That's why when tallying the score,
New
I
child, new infant, what else could it be?
Doreen, you're really irritating me. She tries my patience.
And I want to cry.
I'm fed up with these single-word replies.
Silver goblet.
New!
Enough, Doreen. Now act your age and tell me what you mean.
New baby, maybe?
No, it was pewter.
If she goes on like this, I'm going to shoot her.
New birth.
Or
New arrival.
was it copper.
Arrival! New arrival!
Can't we stop her?
Or is it brass?
No need to, Elamir. The answer is new arrival. Did you hear?
In any case, I keep it on display.
That's it, Doreen? That's what you meant to say?
And clutch it to my breast when I'm in bed.
Doreen, repeat the first word that you said.
Which isn't.
Blue.
Which means
Because I'm proud.
that royalty is...
New.
It's that I vow to guard that chalice, Grail-like as it were.
My God, of course! It must refer to her!
My God, of course, it must refer to whom?
One time I had it stolen from my room.
She's here!
Who's here?
The princess!
True.
in shock.
Why?
Because
I checked behind the clock.
new arrival, blue for royalty.
And lo,
Good heavens.
True.
You're right.
I see my trophy wedged against the wall.
Doreen, she's here. The princess now. That's what you mean?
It must have slipped.
Well, send her in.
My cup had therefore not been stolen.
Hurry up.
And I was so relieved at simply knowing that it was mine again. Wait, where's she going? One question, please, before you leave, Doreen. How old are you?
2.
She's 17.
Now run along.
Then why did she say 2?
I thought I just explained that quirk to you.
Ah, yes, the adolescent phrase. I'll admit, I felt my eyebrows raised when she said 2. I was astounded. My God, I thought. Just 2 and so well.
You didn't tell me she was coming here.
Because I didn't know it, Elamir. They handed me this writ, that's all I knew.
Who's coming?
The princess.
Is that true?
This is a nightmare.
No, this is ideal. She did, after all, arrange this meal, intending, so you led me to believe before you plucked this writ out of your sleeve, to introduce us to a candidate whom we'd be trusted to evaluate, not someone whom, despite what we might say, would be forced upon us anyway. The very thought that we're not worth consulting should strike you as sufficiently insulting to tell her, as I plan to, face to face, exactly how we feel about this case.
My queen! My queen! My sovereign! Truly now!
Good day, Your Grace.
Princess.
Then let me bow so low that by bowing anymore I'd lay completely prostrate on the floor.
Good day to you.
For could you but see me bend a fraction lower than I descend, a fraction lower I would bend indeed.
My thanks.
So low
But really, there's no need.
that low would seem comparatively high.
Up for heaven's sake.
And yet I shy when basking in thy autocratic glow from using such a lowly word as low.
Stand up, Valera.
Stand up! That's sacrilege! Already it's too great a privilege to be in close proximity to one of such divine divinity.
I'm overwhelmed. I'm truly overcome.
Admittedly, my legs are growing numb, but in my other legs, down to the marrow, I feel thy presence deeply, Lady Pharaoh. And mine is thine, for mine and thine entwine. My God, that was a lapidary line. I'm speaking poetry out of the blue. A poetry, my queen, inspired by you.
I'm hardly queen.
Art thou not queen of France? Thou shouldst be queen. Thou shouldst be queen of France.
I'm grateful for your pains, but I fear that I've interrupted something here.
Impossible, Regina.
Not at all. In fact, why were you waiting in the hall? You should have come inside directly, ma'am.
I shrank from doing so, but here I am. In fact, I've been here longer than you know. When I arrived here half an hour ago, your troop assembled in the dining room described to me how suddenly, and I assume how anxiously, Bejart, Valère, and you dashed off to have a private interview. I urged them thus as far as I was able to please remain discreetly at the table, so you'd be free to form a pure reaction unvexed by any ripples of distraction. And yet I broke the rule myself, you see. Bedeviled by my curiosity, I simply could not keep from interfering. I'm much too eager at the thought of hearing exactly how your tete-a-tete concluded. And I don't mean to leave Bejart excluded. He's part of this as well, let's not forget. So, shall I say your tete-a-tete-a-tete?
A tete-a-tete-a-tete. My queen, you're brilliant. There's not a whit more noble or resilient than that which you possess. Not now or ever. A tete-a-tete-a-tete. Oh, very clever. Bravo, my sovereign. Daunting is the ease with which you weave linguistic tapestries. Astounding is your skill at verbal play. Each sentence seems an intricate where pronouns leap and gerunds pirouette. That phrase again.
Tete-a-tete-a-tete.
A tete-a-tete-a-tete, how delicious! My queen, thou art what? So lovelicious. A word I've just created on the fly. For lovelicious seems to typify, as common metaphors would fail to do, the deep down loveliciousness of you. Yet were I bound by ordinary speech, thy every phrase I'd liken to a peach, which thou hast coaxed, no mortal can say how, to ripeness on the fire of my Thou art a shepherd to linguistic herds. Thou hast, in short, my queen, away with words.
You honor me too much with this reply.
Impossible, O monarch of the sky.
But eloquence is your domain, not mine.
I've never heard more wisdom in one line. Was everybody listening to that? I take off my imaginary hat to thee, my queen, and click my heels as well. For how else could this tongue-tied actor tell a Circe of their bubbles? Come, woman! How totally he cherishes each gem that thou effortlessly casts upon our ears.
That talent, though, is yours and Elamir's. Because of it, I wanted you to meet. Alone, your plays, though great, seemed incomplete. And therefore, I was driven to know whether I could, by bringing both of you together, create a whole out of your separate arts which might surpass the sum of all its parts.
Breathe not my name with that of Elby. I'm bound to earth. He skirts the stratosphere. Brilliant as playwright and as actor, clearly, where I am but a brilliant actor, merely. My couplets lack the common touch, a vulgar knack which I envy overmuch in masters like our darling Elamir.
Don't call me darling. Ever.
Sorry, dear. Well, that was rather on the snippy side. I seem to have misjudged your sense of pride. Still quaking at my quibbles even yet. Don't crucify yourself on vinaigrette. I didn't mean to stir up such a do. To punish me for being frank with you seems, I don't know, a bit juvenile. A man should take his workings with a smile.
I know that line.
Can you pin it down?
Of course!
That's right.
Your play!
The Dying Clown.
The Dying Clown! I love that!
Most agree. That you remember it surprises me.
Remember it? I wept throughout Act 2. It's where you showed that clowns have feelings too. How mirth with sorrow in each soul compete.
I leave such chit-chat to the exegetes. I'm useless as a critic. I create. An artist at a loss to explicate his raw ideas. To him their heaven sent. That clowns have feelings. Is that what I meant? Perhaps. And if so, well, it's rather good.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Oh, then you should.
I've seen it.
Thank you, thank you.
Really, where?
A year ago in Brussels, at a fair.
Oh no! Not Brussels, I was off that night! I had a chest cold, and to be polite, let's call it something wrong beneath my waist. You saw me then? God, I feel disgraced.
Well, why don't you make up for it right now?
Tell me, my sovereign, tell me how.
By doing just a tidbit from the play.
Oh, no, 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 my queen. Oh, nay, nay, nay.
But please.
I can't.
Why?
Because I'm shy and without context, it
Oh,
would be...
boo. I'm asking for a simple line or two.
Without the cow, they wouldn't understand.
This isn't a request. It's a command.
Command, you say? Well, since I'm at your beck, I'll smooth the rising hackles on my neck and grant an unwilling recital of Baba's tearful farewell to his title as clown extraordinaire to Cirque Soleil. This is the final couplet. Whew. Cast down my polka-dotted pantaloons, my rubber lips, my colorful balloons, and then I blow my nose and kiss the pigeon. Well, 'tis but a tiny smidgen of something that took decades to perfect.
You'll understand I mean no disrespect by telling you, Valère, that while delightful, the Dying Clown seems somewhat less insightful, and Baba's death less poignantly sublime when one observes the scene a second time.
But that was my intention.
Was it?
Yes! How gratifying, Grace, that you should guess. Departing from theatrical tradition, the play is designed so that each rendition deliberately lessens our esteem, so that once oppressed by every blotch and seam, we are appalled by the respect we first had for a work which is so supremely bad.
You mean the play's intended to go stale?
To be successful, Queen, the play must fail.
But that's ingenious.
Man, I try my best.
Why, Elamir, you must be so impressed. Imagine planting in a play's construction the seeds which guarantee its self-destruction. The concept seems both daring and nouveau. Could you have thought of it yourself? Be honest.
No.
Voila! This news exceeds my expectations. I'm dazzled by dramatic innovation.
Still, won't you show Valere how you excel at forms much more conventional as well?
Another play?
Go on.
No.
Excuse me?
Wait a minute.
You must.
I'd love to see him in it.
You berserk?
Trust
Now.
Well, couldst thou be specific?
Oh, do that thing you do that's so terrific. What's it called? Come on, you know the play.
Right, Highness, bring a tiny clue my way?
The one that stands out like a shining star.
That could mean my entire repertoire.
No, I mean your masterpiece, Valere.
Which one?
You did it in the public square 6 weeks ago.
You don't mean Death by Cheese?
No, that's not it.
The catastrophic sneeze?
Another one.
The fork that spanked the spoon?
Another.
Well, there's Ride Me to the Moon, where I get all dressed up as Aphrodite.
No, it's the one where you don't wear a nightie.
Now I think I know which one it is. The Parable of Two Boys from Cadiz.
My God, that's it! You're right! That's what it is! The Parable of Two Boys from Cadiz!
But, Grace, I can't.
Why not?
To do it well requires the most intense concentration.
Well, then we'll allow for lack of preparation.
I need my juggling balls and prosthesis.
Why can't you just suggest them through mimesis?
You've missed the point, my queen, if I may dare. It's not for want of props that I resist. It's more that I'm a staunch perfectionist who, bristling at the slightest compromise, will turn to fate mieux until he dies. I know it seems quaint in this corrupted age when half-baked twaddle dominates our stage, but lower standards make me feel degraded. And thus I refuse and cannot be persuaded to vulgarize a work which at its core requires a day of preparation, more, a week if I'm to get it right. And hence I cannot fulfill your request tonight.
Then I'm afraid you're finished here, Valere.
I'll need about 3 minutes to prepare.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you've changed your mind. Besides, Elamir, I think you'll find the Parable of Two Boys from Cadiz is everything that I've said it is.
I long for it to start.
In fact, Bijart, go fetch the others. You know where they are. I want the troupe to see this.
Very well. I'm sure if Elamir decides to tell your highness of the words we shared alone, he'll honor my opinion as his own.
I'm sure he will. Now, what was that about?
Oh, never mind, Your Grace. I highly doubt such trivia would interest you at all.
Then what about Valere? Did he enthrall the company at dinner? Was he witty? Did he recite that syncopated ditty about the gnome whose trousers scraped the floor?
He did indeed, Your Grace, and so much more. Where did you find him?
In the public square. Can you imagine, in the open air, a talent of that magnitude?
It's frightening.
When I first saw him, I was struck by lightning. A voice inside of me cried out, now here's a man who must meet Elamir. A common street clown, true, but what a gift. And certainly the troupe could use a lift.
A lift? What sort of a lift?
Parking up. For several weeks now, I've been working up the courage to reprove you, Elamir, for faults caused, unavoidably, I fear, by too much time unchallenged. By stagnation. The troop seems listless in my estimation, not daring as they were a year ago. Remember how they strove with every show to break some rule, to shatter some convention? What happened to your talent for invention that earned you your exalted reputation in all the provinces throughout the nation as rival to the genius of Corneille?
If you're as disappointed as you say, what's needed to improve the situation?
New blood to stimulate the circulation. A year at court has undermined your morals. You've grown content to rest upon your laurels, as if afflicted by some dread ennui. Valere will challenge your complacency. Between two men of talent, competition can be a most desirable condition, for it propels them both to greater heights until, producing myriad delights which separately they never would have done, the rivals come to see themselves as one, a team, depending each upon the other. Tonight you met your spiritual brother, a man whose gifts provide, it seems to me, a rare and welcome opportunity.
Perhaps less opportune, your grace, than rare. I'd welcome anyone except Valere. Forgive me if that's too blunt, but it's true. I see no purpose in deceiving you.
Deceiving me? You mean you didn't like him?
I mean that not to strangle him or strike him required unbelievable restraint.
Good God!
Wait, that's the least of my complaints.
The least?
The least.
Now don't be cross.
Now, ma'am.
Oh, right. You're not as enchanted as I am. That's fine, but still.
We're not communicating.
Just overlook what you find irritating about Valere.
But nothing would remain.
You're being churlish.
Ma'am, would I complain?
Valere, you either could or could not see, is really something of an oddity.
I could see that.
He is, and there are few, an idiot savant.
That's partly true.
That's partly true.
I mean, I half agree.
Explain yourself.
How pointed can one be? I think the man's an idiot.
Savant.
No, your grace, a chucklehead.
Savant.
No, not chucklehead savant. Just chucklehead. Just idiot.
Savant.
The man's a raging cretin.
Oh, no.
A nincompoop, a boob.
That isn't so. You've totally misread him, Elamir.
I haven't.
What? Egregiously, I fear. In fact, I'm nothing short of stupefied that you, an artist trained to look inside, should base your views on superficial flaws. It's one of life's profound unwritten laws that people whom you least expected of may harbor, like a hand inside a glove, some mystery, some talent left unproved, because the glove has never been removed. The baker's wife, for instance, just suppose, a prima ballerina's in her toes. The butcher, might he not behind his hands be peerless at unscrambling anagrams? Perhaps the milkman loves Etruscan art. The barber may know Ptolemy by heart. The priest might be a stunning acrobat. Well, one could just go on and on like that. The lesson here is that the naked eye is often insufficient to espy the wealth of natural talent left unseen, unless one probes beneath or checks between. You haven't really looked at this, Valere.
I have, your grace.
Not deep enough to bear the soul of his achievement, which transcends theatrical performance and extends to likes of which you never guessed. He taught the king of Sweden to play chess.
Who told you that?
He told me.
Oh my God, and you believed him!
Yes, is that so odd? I'd hoped that you'd have liked him as a man. Still, you can work together. Yes, you can. By which I mean, you will. Or otherwise. If you can make one tiny compromise respecting me, then get your trunk and go! You have no right to flout my wishes so. I cannot stand this in you, Elamir, when I've always given you your freedom here. Supported you like kings when half the time your work's too dark, or dense, or fails to rhyme, or makes no sense, or takes strange points of view. This man has gifts that will inspire you. Now that's what I believe. And in the end, my say-so is what matters. Why, my friend, are you so stubborn? You've not seen his play. Why is it so important, anyway? He's just one man whose talent pleases me. Now, you'll accept him as a courtesy no less than that which I have shown to you by setting up this meal.
If that were true, would I be put so coldly in my place? And is this a courtesy, your grace? I never thought you'd show me such contempt. I'd fooled myself to think we were exempt from pressures of this sort, since from the start you've ordered me, my thoughts, my troops, my art. in such a rare, uncompromising way that naturally we've struggled to repay your kindness with new works that's just as rare. But now you force upon us this Valere and tell me I should get my troop and go? Have we so failed you?
No, of course not, no. It pains me that you say that when it's clear how deeply I admire you, Elamir. The troop has been for me a source of pride.
Then why not please let all of us decide? Why not let this parable of his, this
Parable of two boys from Cadiz?
be crucial in determining his fate?
I've seen it though, it's charming.
Yes, but wait, remember when you saw the dying clown a second time, you felt
That's true.
let down?
But he explained that brilliantly.
What's more, Your Grace, he acts alone, not in a corps of actors like our own, where all take part. His monologue's a selfish pseudo-art, which puts the man himself above the group.
I take your point.
Why not let him perform with the troop and see if he could truly serve the company instead of taking over?
I don't know.
A joint performance cannot fail to show how much of an asset or a threat he'd be.
A threat? But that's absurd hyperbole.
He'd ruin us.
You mean it, Elamir.
I couldn't be more serious.
Oh dear. You'd think the world itself were at an end. You're funny. You're so serious, my friend. Commitment to your art deserves respect, but not when it compels you to reject as monstrous any change which fails to suit your own designs. And this seems so minute. Still, rigidly you press your point of view. Whatever am I going to do with you? All right then, very well.
Thanks, Your Grace.
But promise me this. Let me see your face. If I'm to view him in this different light, you must be less insistent that you're right. My mind is open. Tell me yours is too.
I'd like to think, Your Grace, that's always true.
Well, this should be great fun, don't you agree? We'll neither praise nor fault too eagerly.
Finding fault with whom?
Ah, here they are.
With whom? With us?
Ah, heavens no, Bejart. Come in, we have a treat in store. But first, I need your help to clear the floor. A space right over there, I think, will do. Excuse me, lads. Here, all of you. I'd like to sit on the head. Settle down and get your voices drowning. What's a clamor?
But ma'am.
But ma'am.
It's like a hammer pounding on my skull.
But ma'am.
Be still. Now, one by one.
Your
Grace, it's impossible. Be quiet. You're babbling like a rabble in a riot.
I'm
telling you to stop. Now, why don't we just take this from the top? Who wants to speak?
I do.
It's like to draw silence, all of you. Sharp, can you account for this display?
Your Grace, the troop is in a rush to say...
We're grateful.
We demand an explanation.
For what?
For what?
This awkward situation.
For having had the chance to meet...
That
Don't
man.
shrug at it for crazy.
She's a fan.
Who wouldn't be?
You all seem so excited.
It's late, though.
We were told that you invited that fool to do his what?
The parable of two boys from Cadiz can never be unstintingly
I
admired.
did suggest it, yes.
We're all too tired.
What are you up to?
Trust me.
Yawn, yawn, yawn.
Just tell us, please.
Indeed, it's nearly dawn.
We have to watch this? Now? It's barely 8.
Not merely watch, you'll all participate.
Ah, wonderful. Did everybody hear? A grand suggestion thanks to Elamir. It's his idea you should all join in.
There's no time like the present to begin to test out how our new formed team will do. Whenever others voice a point of view that's different from my own, I think again. Valere, I realize now, like many men, has flaws which might hide great talent. Might. The princess saw it. Could it be she's right? Well, performing in this parable of two boys from Cadiz will help us get a feel.
Yes, Duparc?
My Grace, Therese is ill. Her tongue's gone dark.
Her tongue's gone dark.
Yes, very.
Let me see.
It's darker than a normal tongue should be.
Well, if it is, so what?
Precisely.
Please!
Would
The
you
point is
quiet?
that it might be some disease that, left untreated, could, for all I know, infect a lot of us.
She's healthy.
By
though.
feigning illness,
I'm
what does
sorry.
matter? She accepted best a very short reprieve.
Well, if
Just
it
told
wasn't
us
you,
I'm already dying.
And boy, every day of the parable
Two boys from
objection
would better be performed on some
Hello, attention, hush! Does everybody know Doreen is standing here and saying shoo?
She's saying shoe.
Be quiet, all of you! Come in, Doreen. Be careful with your dress. You have a little message for us, yes? What is it, dear? Just say it, please, Doreen.
Shoe.
Shoo what?
Shoe what?
Well, shoe could mean shoelace
Or shrink.
or maker,
Are we right?
shoehorn,
Shoe size?
Shoe length?
Shoe width?
shoe height.
Or is it shoo, be gone, get out?
Now, what the devil is this all about?
Doreen, your grace is going through a phase.
Oh, not again.
Is there another phrase that might make sense of shoe?
And it's unique.
Shoe sole.
Shoe polish?
She will not speak except in monosyllables that rhyme.
Shoe toe.
Well, at least it's better than the time she hummed E flat incessantly. Remember?
Shoe heel?
Or worse, that fortnight in December when all she did from dawn to dusk was whirl.
Just spun around.
Shoelace.
Peculiar girl.
No, lace was said already.
Now, what is she doing?
Perhaps the word is issue or shoeing.
She's acting out a clue.
That's it! I've seen enough to put up with this adolescent stuff. It's more than I can bear. Therese is dying.
Doreen is singing.
Everybody's trying.
Will someone call a doctor?
So should you.
She's singing, and look, she's dancing too.
And chewing up the scenery.
A play.
A farce.
An operetta.
A ballet.
Shouldn't be indulged.
They all apply?
Is there a doctor in the house?
Oh my. Well, if they all apply, what could it be?
A festival.
Shoe.
Don't look at me.
A gala.
My grace, I beg of you.
I don't know.
For God's sake, can't you see the word is show?
It's showtime, yes, a marvelous deduction. I thank you for that splendid introduction. Although you might have simply said voila, but still, your way had a special je ne sais quoi. But far more special is the gift I bear. Breathe in, my friends, there's magic in the air. Can you not smell that vague exotic scent, that mystic perfume from the Orient? It is but an intimation of the spell cast forth by the enchanting tale I tell. Move back, you lout! It's stuffy as a tomb! Get off the platform, give me room! Find the peace and stay seated until my presentation is completed. No talking and no spitting, by the way. There's nothing more disruptive to a play than hearing someone gab or bring up phlegm when one's reciting their most cherished gem. Good heavens, what's everybody staring at?
Your...
Yes?
Your...
What?
Your costume.
Oh, yes, that. Distinctive, no, it won 2 huge awards. The Golden Bobbin and the Silver Sword. It took 12 peasant girls 6 months to make. I'm only teasing you, for heaven's sake. I patched it up myself from odds and ends, but that is rather off the point, my friend. I've got the sheets. Take one and pass them round.
What is it?
It's the text. You see, I found that often the most beautiful invention is lost or met with dull incomprehension unless the audience can savor every word. This lets them read along.
But you've not heard.
Heard what?
They're going to join you.
In what way?
The troupe is going to join you in your play.
To join me?
Yes.
But you can.
Why not?
Oh, no, my grace. This is a strictly one-man show where I play every part and speak every line.
It's Elamir's idea. It isn't mine.
It should be quite revealing in that light.
Perhaps another time, but not tonight. I'm feeling too much pressure as it is.
The parable of 2 boys from Cadiz.
Give me those.
No arguments. Let's go. I'm sitting here and waiting for the show.
Will there be costumes for the troupe to wear?
Those hips? Hardly.
Start the play, Claire.
Very well, my grace, but let them be advised, if I may, it's done in verse, this hallowed play.
In rhyming verse.
Indeed, it's very odd. Almost like a miracle of God. Pentameter, while pleasing on the page, is so monotonous upon the stage. Unless one rhymes as deftly as I do. Just try to stump me, you, or you. A word, and in the time it takes to spit, I'll rhyme it.
Orange.
The word is orange. Shit. Well, normally this ends in wild applause.
The play, Blair.
Man, without further pause, I humbly dedicate tonight's performance to thy most magnified, grandified enormous, the parable of two boys from Cadiz. The parable of two boys from Cadiz commences. With a child named Esmeralda, the most hideous girl in all of Volta. Grown men who glanced at her would run and hide. For while the lass was beautiful inside, without fair looks she didn't stand a chance. In Volta's vain society, Red France.
Red France? My God, what's this, a commentary?
I'm merely pointing out that there's a very illuminating parallel between what we seem to be the case in Volta and contemporary France. Why the tension?
I think it adds an interesting dimension. Go on, Valère.
As grace commands, I do. Constrained to keep her visage out of view, a maiden as grotesque as Esmeralda, the little opportunity in Volta except to join a sideshow, which she did. Now, if there was a crowning trick amid the several she developed, it was when she clamped her teeth around a clucking hen and squeezed the eggs out one by one. And then, by way of rounding out the fun, from every egg she blew the raw albumin. Oh! An act which made her seem more foul than human. As Esmeralda's reputation grew, her crowds of gawking spectators did too. By multitudes, by legions, by the score, from boatloads they arrived from every shore. But none had traveled farther, nor come sooner than two young fellows in a private schooner with Titchfork's hat emblazoned on the prow. Remarkable these brothers were, and how. Fraternal twins, and both named Esteban, yet, despite that curious phenomenon, less likely twins there never, ever were. One juggled, one was a philosopher. One wore a cape, the other a frock. One boy was big and solid as a rock. The other lost his leg in early life for proving wrong a bully with a knife. Unless your brain is smaller than a thimble, the missing leg has struck you as a symbol for just how very costly it can be to fight for truth with one's philosophy. But soft, we tarry back to our oration. The juggling twin, while skilled at his vocation, was nonetheless a wee bit ordinaire. Beyond his keeping 3 balls in the air, there wasn't very much that he could do. The other twin, though, was brilliant through and through. His thoughts were far too great for ordinary folk to contemplate. Complex and subtle theories he'd abound, of which none was more aggressively profound, the one that proved, and this is just the gist,
That no such thing as nothing can exist.
For if it does, it can't be nothing, can it?
amazing how one thought can shape the planet. For this treatise of nothing's nothing, simply put, the whole world, at least Cadiz, was at his foot. In Volta, though, he couldn't find one fan, from sage aristocrat to working man, from oldest village coot to tiny sheep. The brother whom the Voltans seemed to favor was Esteban, the second-rate magician. Not Esteban, the dazzling logician. The latter's work they couldn't understand. This proved that nothing was far too grand, too eloquent a theory to advance in such a vain, shallow land.
Red flag.
I love that.
It's almost over now.
But even more unsettling was how unflinchingly and swiftly Esmeralda, herself debased by prejudice in Volta, gave partial treatment to the juggling twin. A totally unpardonable sin, for she, unlike her countrymen, could see the brilliance in the one's philosophy, but like them chose the other anyway. Now why would she behave that way? In Volta, where the tiniest mole could make a crucial difference in your social standing, she shuddered at the mere thought of bandit, one so dedicated to ideals, he sacrificed his life for what he feels. She therefore told the genius to move on, was married to mediocre Esteban, said fond farewells to sideshows and all that, embarked for Spain aboard the tit-for-tat, which she misread as the tit-for-tat. Embarked for Spain like Cleopatra.
那太棒了.
Brava! Well, good for her.
But what of our esteemed philosopher?
Alas, his was a hideous demise.
By hunger forced to pluck out both his eyes and sell them for a slightly tainted quail.
He wandered, blind and destitute and frail.
From Upper Volta down to Lower Volta.
From lower Volta back to upper Volta.
In search of someone
Anyone at all.
intelligent enough to scale the wall of his complex and rich philosophy.
But nothing does exist, for tragically, 'twas nothing that was left upon the ground, weeks later, when his lowly corpse was found.
Except, of course, the patches for his eyes. And also,
Think what this might symbolize.
his wooden leg.
The wooden leg, you hear?
The leg, like,
Truth!
wouldn't disappear. It stood for his convictions, in a way.
Unyielding.
Hard, immune to all decay.
A symbol for what he fought for since his youth.
Eternal.
If impenetrable,
Oh, this is so embarrassing. I find it you, not I, who wore thunderous cheese. Applaud yourself. You've earned the right, my dear. Such talent truly takes the breath away. For you've truly heard the author hear the play as though he never heard the work before. What wizardry is this that makes words soar, that on the page seem lifeless and mundane?
Well, acting is very tricky to explain. You see, I took the character and tried to understand not simply how, but why he does the things he does, which is to say, I get inside the meaning of the play.
That's nonsense. One must work from the outside in. By putting on the costume, I begin at once to grasp the essence of the part.
It's ludicrous to verbalize my art, for truly I become the words I say. That chicken, when it was squeezed within your play, I was that chicken. I became that hen.
It's really timing, always knowing when to tilt your head or launch a comic line, a skill which only training can refine.
well, I'm not one who thinks or broods or whines. I simply hit my mark and say my lines.
Although the tale's essentially the same as that which I remember having heard, until tonight I thought it seemed referred to Volta only, not some great expanse. But now I see that Volta is like France,
Well grasped, my queen.
and France like Volta is. The parable of two boys from Cadiz critiques, therefore, at least implicitly, the foibles of our own society.
'Tis my work not subtle and ambitious.
I consequently found it more pernicious than when I heard it in the public square. For what you're really saying here, Valere, unless I'm analyzing it too much, is that, like in Volta's culture, ours is such where mediocrity is bound to thrive, while excellence must struggle to survive.
Exactly as you say, my queen is very
We
sad.
punish virtue, we reward the bad. Our age embraces dullness like a lover. We've lost the taste and patience to discover real morals or real wisdom or real art. We can't tell truth and travesty apart. And those who can, as shown by Esmeralda, are prone in France the way they're in Volta to sell their souls without a second thought, the second there's occasion to be bought. Vain fools control the world. That's what you're saying. Because of them, our standards are decaying. But the wiser men must bear the greater blame, who tolerate this evil in the name of comfort for themselves, like Esmeralda. Indeed, not France, but all the world is Volta.
That phrase again, if you could. Rarely does an artist feel so understood. One more time, please.
Indeed, not France.
Let me! But all the world is Volta. Pure ecstasy. I am convinced, my queen, that if thou were not of royal stripe, thou wouldst have been a literary type. An excellent critic of world renown. In fact, I'd like to write that sentence down, for my God, it really is a dandy. Who knows when such a phrase might come in handy? Again, please, Madam Critic.
Indeed, not France, but all the world is Volta.
Indeed, not France, but all the world is Volta. Indeed, not France, but all the world is Volta. I'm useless as a critic. Yes, it's so. Such creative types often are, you know. It's a relatively common quirk, especially when describing one's own work. To do so is like looking in the sun. But since my queen has already begun to offer her interpretations of the play, for the sake of balance, here's the author's say of getting at the meaning of the text. Correctly, Grace, you've shown how I assail the slipping standards of our culture, how vice leans over virtue like a vulture, how truth is devoured by mediocrity. But what you missed, my Grace, apparently, and it's essential to the plan, is my insistence that a gifted man should persevere no matter what the cost. One's innovative theories may be lost upon the pinhead of the elite. You might find yourself begging on the street and miscounting mishaps that befell you. Perfection can be painful, let me tell you. The road to greatness is a bumpy road, but better a pauper prince than a wealthy toad. If one must, then beg one should. It's burdensome to have a leg of wood. It's difficult to be completely pure, but they're the heroes, the ones who can endure. Well, there you have my reading of the play. I'd love to see what you all have to say.
Your Grace, this might sound insolent, I know, but if he stays, then we will have to go.
Your Grace!
This troop stands with me.
Let him finish.
Bejart's afraid that frankness might diminish our chances of remaining here at court. He arrogantly presumes that you're the sort who brooks no disagreement with her views, and would, were her views contested, choose to banish the offending opposition instead of reassessing her position. How very wrong he is, Your Grace, how very wrong. And that's what I've been saying all along. The unembroidered truth is what you seek. And since no one feels at liberty to speak, I feel compelled to speak for them. In short, I unreservedly condemn by every measure, every standard known, a work which I feel could stand alone among the theater's most profound disgraces, evincing neither talent nor its traces. A parable of two boys from Cadiz, assuredly, indubitably, is as bad a stage play as ever seen. It's pompous, it's insulting, it's obscene. It should in sum be banned from public view.
Well, that's a semi-positive review.
The composition is unique, but have you ever heard a worse technique? Those desperation couplets are too tragic, like Volta Esmeralda.
It's pure magic.
Or Cleopatra tit for tatra, really. Good verse conceals its artifice ideally. His bends over backwards for a rhyme. The words are warped to fit some paradigm, and so the form should legislate the meaning. And thus you'll find no content intervening where his poetic metaphors are made.
Giving out the secrets of the trade.
But most appalling is the allegory. If I'm right, this deeply vulgar story is meant to illustrate the proposition that France is in so desperate a position, our values so decayed, our brows so low, that mediocrity is all we know.
Exactly as you say, our culture is bereft. There's absolutely nothing good to be left. And even things that good aren't very good. Although that phrase was rather good.
Did you hear that? That's my main objection, decrying France's vulgar predilection with cheap and undistinguished works of art. His play, ironically, is from the start as bad as any work that it decries. This bleak phenomenon itself implies a danger to our society more malign than so-called facts of cultural decline. It represents a far more lethal trend. The language used by artists to defend against the rule of mediocrity is itself appropriated to a T by those very mediocrities who rule. It is dangerous to be governed by a fool, but worse when fools bemoan the sad decline of standards which their efforts undermine. To moan decaying values in a play which only reinforces their decay devalues the very idea that it expresses. And so the themes he so loftily addresses, real morals, real wisdom, and real art, are each devalued, sundered, torn apart. Devalued are the very words employed to keep language from being thus destroyed. A currency, cheapened bit by bit, until even genuine seems counterfeit. Hence language is by fools emasculated, and since their words and deeds are unrelated, they taint all discourse with a hollow drivel. Words, sapped of meaning, lose all clout and shrivel. Convictions, truths become mere cloaks to dawn, providing an excuse to babble on words themselves do these false words reflect. Indeed, instead of having an effect, they yield more words, they yield interpretations. His play, he says, has subtle implications about a culture doomed to the abyss. But since his bold and grand analysis is more impressive than his puny play, it shows that what you really do or say is less important than the commentary. Good art, good deeds become unnecessary. What's crucial is portraying them as good. Hard facts count for less than how they're understood. Pretension and the truth become confused. The honest word is violently abused. And when the honest word is stripped of sense, its form assumes unnatural consequence. The way a thing is stated holds more weight than what, if anything, one seeks to state. I do my play in rhyme, he says with bluff, as if refined expression were enough to pardon an impoverishment of thought. Yet this is the place to which we've now been brought, a place where men, as far as I can see, aspire to nothing endlessly. Yet let them talk and talk until they're blue. For us, the less that's said, the better.
True.
Hush up, Doreen.
There I loathe your play. For if fools control the world in its decay, it is your play itself that tells us why. For are you not the fool that you decry?
Is that a question? Jesus Christ, it's long. Well, here's a one-word answer, darling. Wrong. No, you're right. I'm sure you are. I'm terrible. I'm quite the worst by far. Oh, damn me.
Silence.
Oh, damn me. Damn.
If I could get away from you. Shut up, you fool! Now is that understood? And
Grace.
you as well. How dare you lecture me as if I lacked impartiality to judge this work afresh as we agreed? I frankly feel insulted by your scream. Don't ever talk to me that way. Still, I can hear the truth in what you say. You know I do. You've had my full support in voicing all such sentiments at the court. And though I recognize them and agree, they've weighed upon your plays increasingly. Stand firm for truth in language, but be fair to turn those arguments against the lamb with a simple talent, which might be a happy antidote, is sophistry. The truth, of course, is that you can't allow that Elamir himself was wrong somehow. He'd ruin us, you said. You're incorrect. In fact, I was delighted to detect a message which made it seem more intriguingly disturbing than before. And it was met with quite a great ovation. Monsieur Valère, you have an invitation to join this troupe to bring your talent here.
Who, me? And share the stage with Elamir? No, I can't. Well, if you insist. Humility doth urge me to resist, but damn humility, I always say. Just show me where to sign, I'm here to stay. You're too generous, all of you. I'm truly speechless.
Would that were true, but I'm convinced that will never be. Your Grace, I said with all sincerity that if he stays, we will have to go. I meant that when I said it, you know.
Well, he's not going anywhere, all right? So you can pack your bags and leave tonight. And they can join you if they're so inclined. But since it comes to that, I think you'll find a precious few supporters for this action. How sad to let a negative reaction to someone whom you've barely even met irrevocably alter and upset your place at court, your troop security. And in the name of what? Of purity? Of strict adherence to some rigid rule? One really has to wonder, who's the fool? To those of of you who wish to leave with Elamir, I thank you for your splendid service here, and wish you well, whatever you may do. But otherwise, as for the rest of you, the ones without a moral cross to bear, who might enjoy performing with Valaire, well, we have a thing or two to talk about, and therefore, come, accompany me out.
I thought that you would understand. That's not what I had planned. There simply wasn't any choice, you see, to ask you. And this is difficult for me. To ask you to give up this life for one whose hardships we had only just begun by mercy to forget. No words will do. But know this, your faith in me and mine in you has tided us through troubled times before and will again, it will. There's nothing more. Let's get our things, I have nothing more to add.
Excuse me, Elamir? He's not so bad. I mean, I like this play. A tiny bit.
Don't lie.
I'm sorry, but that's the truth of it.
That can't be true.
Well, don't look so dejected. He wasn't the disgrace that we expected.
My child, such honeyed words, such flattery.
Oh my God, this can't be happening to me. Duparc.
I'm sorry, sir. I agree with her.
Therese.
Me too.
You love me, as it were.
He really took you in, this poor horse.
Well, dear, his work is livelier than yours.
It's what?
It's more accessible and fun.
It frankly seems forever since we've done a play that might have popular appeal.
Were we to tour again, I strongly feel with its flashy costumes, gags, and plot, it's bound to draw great crowds.
As we could not the work of yours we've done of late. Who really cares about the bloated state of language and its ethical dimension? And other themes too ponderous to mention, which tend to bore instead of entertain?
It's arrogance that leads you to disdain a play which could become a great success.
And that's what you desire?
Well,
Frankly,
yes.
My dears, you've given me a swollen head.
Are you prepared to live with what you've said? Have you considered what this choice will mean? Does no one understand?
I do.
Doreen.
I do as well.
Then help me, please, Bejar, dear friend. Stick with me.
No. You've gone too far.
I have.
There is a way that's less extreme.
I don't believe that.
No. So it would seem.
And you don't either.
Come along, you hear?
I know you don't!
I have to, Elamir! The princess is awaiting us. Let's go.
Don't leave me. Please.
And stay.
I can't.
I know.
Well, talk about a party falling flat. They all just disappeared. Would you look at that? A pity. We were having lots of fun, and I was so adored by everyone. Except, of course, by Elamir, which I'm sad to say cast a sort of pall across the day, since, of course, that's all I'm really here. If only you had liked me, Elamir. We had the makings of a brilliant team. But now it lies there, just a shattered dream. And all that's left to say is goodnight. I thank you for our chat we had tonight. Our dinner here I shall not soon forget. Especially that dreadful vinaigrette. You think me too self-critical? All right, 10,000 more have launched the same attack.